on it. He's
All
coming.
right. Hold on.
I think.
Let me give her a second.
Why?
You good? All right.
This is
Oh.
the work that we did, just a
Oh.
sidebar agreement
Oh, yeah.
for the
Oh, they
co-curricular
did? Okay.
stuff. So we had met and Skip and Karen picked it up.
So do we need a full approval for this?
We do
or-
not, because
Okay.
there's no monetary value attached to it.
Okay, good. All right, Candace in. I want you folks to sign in there.
Oh,
We'll get started.
she's official.
The 22nd, she probably is ticking.
All right. I'll just, before you all, might as well just rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance. So 6 o'clock, on with that there. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And I knew that would go off as soon as Campbell stood up. All right.
Candace, you there?
Candace, all right. Hi, Candace. Thanks for joining us via video. Danielle will be here very shortly. All right. Cool. So first things first, we have on our agenda, we have approval of minutes from October 24th. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes for non-public and public.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Oh, second.
All right. All right. Cool. Because you were not here.
Right.
All right. Actually, you want to just wait on this until Danielle gets here? Because then we'll have 4 people to vote. Or no, Candace can vote.
Yeah.
Oh, Candace was not there. Never mind. All right. Well, we can. I think so.
Still 4 votes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have 4 votes. We can approve them. Yeah, you didn't have to be there.
0-2,
That's right.
Yeah.
right.
That's true. You don't have to be there to approve the minutes.
No, you don't.
Okay. All right. Any comments, questions, concerns, corrections on the minutes?
Just doing the legal part for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. All good, everybody? And since we do have a member participating remotely, we do have to do all votes by roll call. So that being said, yeah, all those, so Brewster,
Yes.
Tim, aye. Kathleen,
I abstain.
abstain. Vicky,
Aye.
aye. And then Candace,
Abstain.
abstain. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, next thing on our agenda, we have public comment. Open for public comment. Anyone has any at this time? We'll open it also again after our presentation by the bus transportation bids. So. Okay. All right. So up next we have bus transportation bids to present.
Actually, Tim, I'm sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
yes.
But could I ask that the board move Sophia's presentation or report
Oh.
up in the agenda? So
Sure.
that
Yep.
she
Oh, yeah.
might leave a little bit earlier.
Oh, yes.
She so graciously is here with us this evening?
Yeah. Are you at the soccer thing supposed to be up there?
No,
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Boys soccer.
I already
Okay.
had mine.
Oh, good, good, good.
Make a motion to move it up.
Okay. And I'll second that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, Candace? Aye, all right. Oh, okay, go ahead, Sophie.
All right. There's not a bunch going on right now. Obviously, we're having our fall sports nights. We had ours already. Field hockey did theirs yesterday, and then there's just soccer, I think, and then cross country and football are doing theirs this week. We had some pretty huge things this year with fall sports. Girls soccer made a ton of records that we would never even have thought about my freshman year, so that's super exciting. Boys soccer did really well. They do. They're really good, usually. Very good. Yeah, that's just about it for sports. I think that the play just finished up with their last play. They're starting another one already. They go really quick with us. What else? Senior. The Future Opportunities Fair was today.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So there was members from like military, all the different military branches, colleges, like there were some local businesses there to show like kind of the workforce. I think there were scholarship opportunities, like pretty much everything. It was a pretty big thing. Seemed interesting for sure. I'm cardio more of a set path, but I think that was definitely helpful for a lot of people, and it was open to all 4 years. So like freshmen and sophomores got a little opportunity to see some stuff too, which I think is cool. Right now the senior class is working on planning our trip, which eventually we'll probably bring to the board. Eventually, but we have to figure it out first.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
All right.
Anyone have any questions on anything?
Yeah, any questions?
Been here in a while, yeah.
Yeah. You had a busy fall.
Update? Yeah,
It has been busy here. Cool.
I know, not much going on.
All right.
No?
Well, I mean, you're free to hang. Oh, Danielle's trying to get in, but she's downstairs. She's gonna go around. All right. Cool. Well, thank you very much, and glad to have you back for another year. You're free to stay, longer into the meeting, so that way you get a little more taste of it. But whatever, you understand, you got work and stuff like that. So, all right. Cool. All right. So we'll go on to bus transportation bids. So, transportation bids. In your packet, you have bids. We put this out to bid. We put a request to bid to 4 different bus companies. 4, correct? 4 different bus companies. We got bid back from Butler Bus. 2 options with them. We have option 1, which is 16 new 77 passenger buses for 24 passenger buses. Or option 2, which is 10 77 passenger buses, a 24 passenger bus, and 5 9 passenger vans. That's what we currently have. The other one is what we were in the spec in the bid. So I will open this for Butler presentation then, I suppose.
I don't really have much presentation
Yeah.
other than just to come here and answer questions. Obviously, like you said, it was put out to bid. Bids were due on the 9th. We chose to do kind of 2 options just to give you that flexibility. One based on the actual bid specs that were submitted, and then one which is what your actual needs are and what we feel that would be reasonable for what you need to use going forward. Our bid includes all brand new equipment, no matter which option you choose. Also contained within that bid is obviously a routing software for the specs, and we currently use TransFinder software, which is a sister to the REI digital cameras that are actually in the buses that we use currently. We upped our driver wages. Hopefully, that's in an essence for us to attract more people and to keep people here. We're going to start everybody at $28 an hour, all new drivers, and then what we'll do is we'll tier that up with the senior drivers. We'll go up from there because obviously it's not fair to pay a senior driver the same amount you're paying a brand new driver. So we'll tier that up based on years of experience going forward, but the minimum will be 28. Everybody will start there.
Okay, that being said, then the clause about the fuel it addresses the price of diesel.
Never hit. We don't cap the gasoline. We cap the diesel.
You do?
Just the diesel is based on the specs that came from Dev Board. There was a cap price of, I believe it was $4.39 for diesel, for just diesel.
It says at the beginning, all fuel to be purchased by Butler will be capped at $4.39.
$4.39. We only cap the diesel.
Then that should be changed.
We can change that. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Because, not that I agree with it, I would like to see a separate price for the gasoline because gasoline is not going for $4.39.
Correct.
Right, so,
Well, we wouldn't cap you on that anyway, because it wouldn't hit $4.39.
You're saying you would let a lower cap, probably,
okay,
right?
so that's where I'm confused. Because
So the cap is, what I do when I develop my bid is I say, all my fuel's gonna cost me $4.39 a gallon,
Okay.
okay? So if it goes above that, the cap, based on, and I can't remember the exact terminology, but Most of our caps are exclusive of taxes.
Mhm.
So if taxes are 50 and the fuel goes to $4.99, you get charged 10 cents. We do the diesel because obviously diesel's more the total. Really not. The average school bus does 15,000 miles a year. I mean, the average school bus in New England does 15,000 miles a year. So if you take that number divided by the number of buses, it's right about where the
But
average
I'm not
is.
looking for averages, I'm actually trying to do it specifically for the Mascoma district, the
I get that.
actual mileage,
I get that.
so. I think that answers most of mine on my list, thank you.
Okay, all right. Anybody else
And I'll
would like to have any questions on this? Okay, move on.
Anyone else before I go on?
I'll let Kevin. Okay, go ahead.
So on part of the specifications, it says the contractor shall select bus drivers, including substitute driver, and use the following criteria. I understand that Butler's paying to provide us with monitors on the bus. Is that true?
In the current contract, we have to provide you 4. I think we provide 6 currently. So, yes.
Okay.
We
But that was
tried
part of the
to.
original.
That's part of the original contract.
Do you plan to continue that in the new contract?
Yeah.
As long as you want that. I mean, it's obviously,
Well-
that's something you tell us whether you want them
It's
or not.
in this
It's-
document.
Yeah.
That
I understand
That's
that,
it.
but
it's not in your proposal.
the monitor pricing is in there.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So,
Broken down by hour.
but how many monitors you, okay, got it.
Monitors, aids, so you have, okay, sorry.
But it's how many do you want? Like, I
Yeah,
don't.
right.
I
The old
mean,
contract said 4.
I don't tell you you're gonna have 10 monitors, but if you don't need 10 monitors, I'm not gonna give you 10.
Yeah.
The school district tells us how many you need, that's why we give you a price. Here's your price per hour, and you tell us how many monitors you need.
Mhm.
And in the old contract, that was 4. But obviously, it's increased a little bit, so we're now providing 6 because that's what the school wanted.
6.
Was 6.
Okay.
We'll work that into the new
6 is
contract.
answer.
Correct, yeah, so the pricing is
Thank you.
there, you tell us what you want. We're there to help, and if you want 12 monitors, we'll hire 12, but if you only want 3, we'll do 3. So it just
Well,
depends
there
on
is
what
some
the
misinformation
school
out
district
there.
wants.
People are telling me that there are monitors on all the buses, which
No.
is news to me.
There is
And so,
not.
I can't justify that, to the taxpayers either, it's not necessary, in my opinion.
Yeah, so 6 of them, sounds like we have, so.
Yeah,
that's-
that's
correct.
And on the
logical.
6
And
that
that's
we,
something that the
Yeah.
school has asked for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from both the special needs side and the regular ed side, transportation.
true, yeah.
Thank you.
Does the 6 go ahead and help with the bus drivers as well?
I'm sorry?
Does the 6 being enough for the buses that are problematic? Yep, you're shaking your head.
That would be,
no.
That's a question.
No.
question for a minute.
I'm
No.
just curious because
There are some buses
No.
that do absolutely
That
need.
is easy.
That need more.
No.
Okay.
Because that should be considered too, because
Yeah.
I mean, we are lacking bus drivers, so.
And that would be
Yeah.
a huge incentive to pay more.
Okay, that's good to hear, because this is the information we don't need to know.
Okay.
Why don't have trouble on the buses? Why, if they're having trouble with some of the buses that are being monitored, why can't they move them to the buses that are having trouble?
Because that's why they're not having trouble, because there's a monitor on it.
Correct.
You know what I
We
mean?
do,
Like-
I will say,
I
I
get what
will
you're saying,
say,
yeah.
Well,
I get what you're saying.
They do get moved around.
they do. I
Yeah,
have
you
a
can
couple float
See?
monitors that go
That's-
back and forth,
Yeah.
but
here's my
there are
business.
certain buses that particularly need them full-time, and one was requested last year for an elementary.
See, they do move,
There we go.
okay?
Not all of them, some do move.
Some.
Well, I mean, if
Flexibility
you need to move them for temporarily.
Correct. We have a problem route, we move them over.
You can
Yeah,
move
correct.
them there and then bring them back to the other one when you get it settled or whatever.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
I would think that you would need, he said 4 and they've gone up 6. I would say you probably need 6 to start with.
6 to
right?
start with, and
6 to start with, and then go from there,
yeah.
okay?
All right.
Where's all this stuff in here anyway?
Any further questions from anybody?
Put any question?
Yeah, go ahead, Danielle.
Looking at the two different options that were presented in your proposal, knowing that option one is probably closer to the specs that we had in the RFP, but option two is based on kind of current reality. Are you saying that you're confident that you could fill the 16 buses with drivers if we're having difficulty with that right now?
So the good part of that is option two has the smaller vehicles,
Right.
which don't require the CDL drivers. So we're hoping that by increasing the wages to the 28 and bringing on some of the smaller shuttling kind of vehicles there that we do now, will keep people in the seats and attract people here. Because it is somewhat intimidating to drive a big 77 passenger yellow bus, and not everybody wants to do it. And when you've got 60, screaming kids behind you, and sometimes that, but the smaller vehicles in that option two is our hopes that with the increased wages and that, we'll be able to maintain that stable of drivers, correct? Yep.
And the option two with the 5 9-passenger vans, is that currently what we have? I forget if that's the same exact number.
Yes.
It is, okay.
Yes. So, and again, with option two, there is flexibility. So if we need to, instead of 5 4s, we need 4 and 1 big bus, there's a flexibility in that to move that around. So that can be done at no cost. You know what I mean? There's some flexibility within that. As your needs change. I mean, what you needed 4 years ago is not what you need now. And so, we want to be able to build that flexibility in there to suit the needs of the district as things change and variables change.
Cool. Any further questions from anybody?
Well, I'm now gonna be confused because you're looking at two different prices,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then what I just heard is option two is a lower price, option one's the higher price, but option two, if you need to move from, like I say, a small bus to a big bus, is that gonna change the bid? Is that gonna change the way it is?
No, and again,
Cost-wise?
I'm not saying that we're gonna take all 5 of those vans, get rid of them, and bring 5 big buses in. There's flexibility within there to move a vehicle here and move a vehicle there, within that option too, without affecting the price.
Gotcha.
And that's based on number of kids we're putting on all these small buses, right? Based on the route and everything else.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just throwing that out there because you might not, if you got 5 small buses, it might not work out well, but that's all right.
Well, I mean,
he's saying that you're gonna bump up to a big one if you need to, then you've got flexibility there, then that's all I was looking at.
So at least with that, you have a van driver who's probably like, oh, you know what, I kind of like this, I will do my CDL, and then they can take time maybe and get their CDL and move up to a big bus.
You think so?
You never know. I mean, that's I know.
It does happen.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
That's exactly the point there.
Yes. It's a trainer.
Down at our Milford, we have an operation in Milford. That's how we start all of our drivers.
Oh, okay.
They start out getting their type 2 small bus license where you don't need a CDL, and we put them on a special needs run. We run 5 special needs runs down there. So they do that while they're training to get their CDL. So it's a good progression into getting your license for a big bus.
Cool. And you're in Woodsville too, right?
Yes, correct.
I've seen the big garage up there with all the buses up there.
Yeah, in North Havel.
Yep.
Yeah, North Havel. Yeah, on Benton Road.
I will say too, these vans have been huge in the areas that we have not been able to get the big buses into.
Like physically on the roads?
Correct,
you mean?
Gristmill Hill, for example. Like, there's a restriction on the bridge now that never used to be there.
That's right.
There's some areas where last year the buses kept getting stuck in the road because the conditions were horrible, especially in the winter. So now we've taken those areas where the big buses were having such problems and making so many kids late. Now you just have a select few that are running those vehicles, a smaller vehicle able to get in there. And for some reason that van is running behind, there's 8 kids that are being affected instead of, 60.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a huge help.
Okay.
You have more, Kathleen's got another question.
Yes, so can you share with the board a ballpark figure of the amount of funds that were credited back to the district for the things that, like the buses that weren't available because you didn't have enough drivers and so forth?
Again, I can get that for you, I don't have that off the top of my head. I mean, I will give you that figure for the 22-23 school year,
Yes.
as well as the 21-22. I can give you a couple
Okay.
years back and tell you what we did credit back. I know it was a large number,
Yes.
yeah,
And
but I don't have, obviously have that. My accountant has all that,
Right.
my controller
That's fair.
would have that, and I can get that for you.
Get back.
Step forward,
Get that down.
There was also, we heard from one of our bus drivers about his concern with safety of the children, and he mentioned, about children and their health care, and if there was an emergency. I think it's great that you're putting monitors on the bus, because I feel that's a burden that the bus driver should be dealing with. Is there any training given to the monitors, like basic life-saving certification or anything like that for emergency health situations?
Not presently. Again, we try to steer away from that because a lot of people are very uncomfortable about administering. We have radios on the buses, and that's our first line of
If they
help
have
and
yeah,
that
if they
kind of
have
thing.
BLS, basic life-saving technique, you're gonna learn, you make call first.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Do we do it in our driver training? Yes. But I don't think there's really I don't know that we have any monitors that,
Some of
unless
the-
they're on a fast squad or fire department.
Right, but some of them, I don't know what entailed when they did the training with Danielle Bushy for the special education, but I think there is some in that incorporated. So some of our monitors have gone through that.
that's where I'm going with it, because with special needs, you're
Yeah.
gonna have special health situations.
Yeah, she worked with the drivers
I
and
didn't know
monitors
Danielle
on
did
that.
that.
Yeah, and worked with Steve and.
I think when Cookie was on the
No,
bus
it didn't.
thing, I think Cookie was, she was with bus driver with us, she did some extra stuff with the bus drivers up here, I know she did. I can't vouch for it now because she's not here, but I'm pretty sure she did that with some of the bus drivers up here. I remember seeing it in the back.
Yeah, so, and if I can add to that, we are required to do safety meetings for the drivers. So we do a monthly safety meeting, and it's everything from first aid
And the monitors are.
to winter driving, to all of those things. And the monitors all come to those meetings. So it's not specific training for the monitors necessarily, but they are there at that training that we do, the 1 hour in-service training every month that we have to do.
Was it last year or the year before, we did a huge one on behavior, and some of it had touch base. It was like an 8-hour course or something.
Correct,
split
yeah.
into
That was
two.
2 years ago we did that. Yes,
That's
so,
good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
they're not specifically trained, but yes, they do get some of that, obviously from Danielle, I didn't know they did that, but yeah.
Cool, any other questions?
I think, Tim, I'd just like to clarify that when we're talking about the 9-person passenger vans,
Yeah.
that we are talking about 3 of those being dedicated to special ed, am I correct? So you're looking at the fact that there would only be 2 available on routes. I don't want the public that might be watching this evening to get the idea that we have 5 vans that are out there. So three of those vans, plus this wheelchair accessible bus, would be dedicated to the special ed students.
Right. Because if they're driving those 24-passenger buses, they have to have a CDL. No? Yes?
Well, the type C.
Right, those type, yeah, and so that's typically what our special ed buses are, but if they drive a van, they don't need it, and they can do the same thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there's 2 24 packs in there, not the one.
Oh.
One goes out of this.
All right. Okay. Any further questions from you?
This is more a question for Amanda, which is, do we think that that option 2 would actually take into consideration all the feedback that we've received from the public about routes being too long or that sort of thing, because it's got the smaller number of buses and kind of general ed vans.
Sure, I was pretty specific when we put out the RFP to make sure that anything that had been stated in one of these meetings or had been sent to me in an email was incorporated. For instance, we made sure that the privacy of the students was protected, right? Like that was a concern that came up after one of the meetings, that the bus routes would be created using the routing software. That was in the RFP. I think that's been addressed. We made sure that we kept the buses designated as elementary and then middle high school. That has been met here. You all didn't talk about the GPS request, but we did have a request for GPS that is in your both options that has been addressed there. The buses would be labeled. The buses would be new-ish, however new, you know. And in our RFP, it was very clear to me that, as I was told many times, we didn't pay the bus drivers a livable wage, and if we did so, then we would have more drivers than we ever needed. So the minimum rate that we asked for was $25 an hour. It's been exceeded to $28 an hour. So I feel like in general, both of the options from Butler's Bus does meet those requirements. Can I safely say that the routes will be less than an hour? I know parents had requested that and they were very upset about that. I don't see that the routes will be less than an hour. I think people have settled into the pickup times and the drop-off times as they are right now, and that's, I believe, what they could expect for next year. You know, really, all the buses at this point are clearing by, I think today was 4:33 is when I received it. I might get the email a little bit later than they actually clear, just for clerical reasons. So we're looking at kids that, yes, are potentially on the bus for, you know, an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes. The Enfield buses are clearing in less than an hour at this time, and that's with the addition of that driver. So I think we're really in good shape. In Enfield, it's the Canaan Elementary School students that are getting home around the 4:30. That seems to be our last group of buses to clear, and I think that's just the nature of the rural portion of the district that we have. So I think, you know, option 2 would allow us to keep as status quo. Would it be great to run 16 large buses? Like there'd be 4 kids on every bus, everybody'd be home in half an hour, 45 minutes, that'd be wonderful. That's not the reality we live in, right? If I can't get an appointment to get my teeth cleaned in less than a year and a half, then, you know, the workforce is just not there. I do appreciate the flexibility that they've said if we needed to remove one of those vans and add a large bus in, that we would have the flexibility to do that should we have a driver. So I do think option 2 would allow us for status quo, and it certainly has, you know, the least financial impact on the district.
Yeah, I think that's a good option to have, being able to upgrade a van down the road to a full-size bus if it's needed on 1 or 2 of them maybe, because then you can take a route that might be bigger, you chop half that off, and you send, you know, you go from 9 kids on one bus to, you know, 60 plus, and you can really chop a route down and really, I think it's good.
How many buses on option 1? What's the breakdown for option 1?
16.
You've got it. 16 big buses.
And 4 of the 24
And
passengers.
4 to 24 passengers.
I'm reading the thing in front of me.
Oh,
You want, yeah.
I haven't got that.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's in your packet.
It's in your packet.
Oh, it's not. Which one?
The newest one.
Oh, I got so much paperwork. Honest to God.
All right,
Wait.
Bruce, you want me to just put it? Okay.
Oh.
Option 1, based on dispatch, was pro 16 new 2025 77 passengers and 4 new 2025 Thomas minutes for
Okay.
24 passengers. Option 2 is 10 new 77 passenger conventional buses, one new Thomas Minotaur 24 passenger bus, and 5 new passenger transit buses, 4 transits.
Cool.
Why is there I look at the price, why is there differential in price? Give me,
Vehicles are
give
cheaper.
me the breakdown on why it's cheaper for this bid two versus bid
Yeah,
one.
you're talking 16 big buses at $122,000 a piece. So when you scale that down from 16 to 10, there's a huge price break there.
Okay.
I can get the
I just
Yeah.
trying to
so
cipher. I know
what it
numbers are
is
numbers.
vehicle costs. It really is where your savings are right now and what you're utilizing and what you're using right now.
Okay.
It's cheaper. It's the 24 passengers are cheaper than the 77 passengers. The transit vans, even though they're expensive, I think they're overpriced, but they're still cheaper than a full size bus.
So these are 9 passengers. Do they make like those Sprinter vans that are a little bigger? Is that options, or is that not
You
ideal?
can't go over 10.
10
10
people.
people.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what the
So
caveat
you
was.
can't, once you go over 10, you are now classified as a
Gotcha.
commercial vehicle.
Gotcha.
So 10 or less, including the driver, is really what you're constrained by.
Well, thanks for keeping
Correct.
it at 9. That works. Right, now that makes a lot of sense. All right, that's cool. That makes sense. Any further questions?
I have
Yes.
two questions. We were talking about the difficulty with the length of the routes, and we heard from a lot of parents this year. I personally rode 2 buses, and I feel very strongly that if the school was to purchase a bus route software package, that we could streamline a lot of the buses. And then the example I'll use are the 2 buses that I rode. They're consolidating the stops, they're like all in a row. And I calculated those stops and the time that we could save. On the 2 buses I rode, one would save 35 minutes in there, especially their morning route. It seemed to be the problem there in the morning. And 20 minutes on the other bus. And the software program that I'm advocating for said that that was a substantial savings to their customers that they currently have, and the reviews back that up that I read. And I think that that's something that we, the board and butlers, we could work on that issue piece by piece. It's not something that we can manage and get done in, like a set time. Like, I think it's going to be a work in progress. Are you in support of using a software like that it would come with training?
Well, their bid included.
My bid includes TransFinder routing software.
Yeah, but I thought that was different than what I'm talking about, because,
I don't know what you're talking about.
well, explain to me the definition of
TransFinder's the company.
okay.
TransFinder's just the routing software company. They're a national company. We actually use their software in Milford and Amherst to do all of our routing in Milford and Amherst. Correct. It's a routing program. TransFinder's the company. It's just the name of their company for their routing software.
So
this is a true routing software. You enter in all the roads and enter in all the student addresses, and you enter this, and the software, it'll route it in places it shouldn't. So manually, you have to go in there and say, "Oh, wait, this is a Class 4 road.
Right,
what are you doing?" And you can move those routes, and it'll give you ideas to maximize the ridership and maximize the time that are on there. We're talking the same thing. It's just I don't know what company or what software you're talking about. It's just a different software.
Well, the
So
one
we're
I'm
talking
talking about
about
not
routing
only
software.
does what you're saying, but the one I'm talking about has the GPS availability that you can give parents a code for the bus that their child.
TransFinder has that too.
Oh, okay.
We have the
And you
GPS.
can
It's all in the
see real
bid.
time where the bus is.
Yes, we have the
Right.
GPS. We have, and I didn't mention that one in the thing, but we have RA cameras that work with TransFinder that work with the GPS.
So your
So
business
We
currently
use Zonar
uses it,
GPS.
and you work with that now?
We do in Milford and Amherst, correct? Yeah.
Oh, okay, and you're happy with it in that area, but.
Oh, absolutely. I can go on there. So for me, being up here, I can actually go on there and track my buses down there. You can get on there and you can say, what's great about it is someone says, hey, the bus never showed up.
Right.
Oh, okay. And you go on the software, it tells you when the door opened up, when it stopped, when the door
Yes.
opened up,
Wow.
when the door closed.
Yeah,
and-
because
and
you're
when
the
they left.
administrator,
I mean,
you can see that.
yeah, you can see all
Right.
that, yep.
So,
And that has the capabilities of having tracking on it too. I will caution, you gotta be careful with that, just because of predatory rules
Right.
and all of that. We need to be careful how we implement that and how we move forward with that. But yes, that
and that's why
capability
parents
is
would
there.
have a code that they wouldn't be
Correct.
allowed to share because they're the only ones that can, and you can
Correct.
tell it's the parent.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and that capability is within that TransFinder, Zonar, REI system or package.
So what we're saying is that by using route mapping software next year, because currently we're just using old routes that have been tweaked and molded over the years that have worked and such.
Manual routing.
Manual routing, yes. So next year, I mean, routes could look very different, but they may be much more efficient because, some of them will look very similar, some of them might look totally different.
Correct.
But the hope is that the software will find those not loopholes, those gaps and those places where it is,
Tweak
wasted time. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
tweak it. So, I mean, that's my hope with it. I also assume that the route mapping software, you'd be able to say, okay, anyone in this area will use this one stop. So like Canaan Village, for example.
You can geocode.
You can geocode, yeah.
You can geocode
Yeah.
certain stops and say, and you can make geocode.
Yeah, big or small.
500 feet,
Yeah.
2,000 feet, so you can make that stop.
Yeah.
And geocode that and say, okay, anybody that lives within this geocode zone goes here.
Yeah, like, for example, like in
you
Canaan Village.
You can manipulate it and change it how you want to do it based on
Yeah.
what the needs of the district are.
That
Awesome.
will be one of your biggest challenges, though, that I run into personally doing the routes. I try to do group stops, and I get screamed at. The schools
Yep.
get screamed at
Yep.
constantly about the group stops. So,
Yep.
I mean, we've tried to implement it as much as possible, but, so I'm hoping that the software will help with it too, but.
I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for the whole board, but I'm in favor of group stops. I think this is something that we've been needing. And I
Yes,
think it
for
just
sure.
takes a little adjustment in parents, steps. I've seen plenty of parents waiting outside, had their kid in the car, waiting at the end of the driveway. I've seen
next
other
step.
lots where you have a group stop where parents come together at the same spot. But like Canaan Village, we shouldn't be stopping every 50 feet when every kid that's in high school can walk to one spot in the village and get picked up all at once and be done with it.
I had it happen on Shaker in Forey, right by Proctor store, where it's 30
Yeah.
minutes. I stopped within 10 feet of each other, and the
Yeah.
parent would be out there ready to scream if I
Yeah.
made their kid walk.
There are some places it's definitely unsafe, and we don't want to do that. That's not what we're talking about. Like, we're not sending someone down Route 4 and, that sort of thing, but there's options, so.
But the numbers don't lie on that software. You
Yeah.
can definitely cut your costs and have a huge savings once you get the routes all tweaked up.
Yeah, and that's the, again, that's the big, not big issue, but there's a lot of data entry that needs to happen to that. So, before you get to that point, there's a lot of work that needs to go into doing that, and she's gonna have her work cut out for her.
And I'm hoping,
But,
the only worry I have is just if the roads, conditions and stuff, and hoping that can.
Well, you shouldn't have a problem down my area because they don't.
No?
No, you won't,
they're on it?
Huh?
They're on it this year?
They've been on it since they got this new road agent in, and he's been in there, he's got a new crew in there, and then you can't help with the winter stuff. Winter stuff is winter stuff.
Yeah.
Don't matter what town you're in, okay? So, anyway.
If I can add too, with the routing software, part of it's a lot of like manual entries and moving stuff around, but also it's a coordinated effort with the schools. So we need all of those addresses, and we can actually dump load all those addresses within the program. So I'm not sure what you use for your student data, but TransFinder can work with the school to get that information, which will then save us a lot of time by putting all the addresses and grades, like what grade they are, so they're put on the right bus as opposed to a different bus. So
Yeah, we use Alma.
Or
Alma?
Our
Okay.
student information system
Okay.
is Alma.
Yep. And, so. All right. Any further questions from the board? Going once. Oh, good.
The only last thing, knowing that there are the 20 vehicles that are included in option 1 and only 16 vehicles in option 2, you've mentioned the additional flexibility that you'd be willing to put into option 2 if we needed to swap one of the 9-passenger vans, for one of the larger 77-passenger buses. Is that something that we would, I'm hoping, that is something that we would write into the actual contract to make sure,
I'm fine with that, absolutely.
to make sure that that is codified?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Any further questions from the board? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll open for public comment, just real quick. Any public comment?
I got one.
Okay.
If buses are only getting 15,000 miles a year, why are we getting all new buses? Sounds like they got 45,000 miles on it. Just a thought.
No, these are the original buses from the original contract.
Back in
Okay.
20,
Correct, 2015, 16.
You've driven the back roads
Yeah.
around
So
here.
These are
So
8
the
years
next,
old.
so
Yeah.
the next contract hopefully won't be new buses.
we won't need new buses, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good.
I'd be willing to
Trying to put
renew
it
the
out
contract for
there.
another 3 years with the original equipment in
Thank
3
you.
years. Correct.
Yeah.
All
Let's get
right.
the roads fixed up.
Oh yeah, I'm also a great believer in group stops.
Yes.
Seeing as there's a stop that's 25 feet apart on Shaky Hill Road.
I just feel.
It's in front
And that's-
of, it's in front of the same house, actually.
And
Same
that's
lot.
a communication issue, and that's something we can work on. I mean, that's, yes.
So bring it back up. So what's the stipulation on the option year? What's that, the option year? Is that our option, their option? I mean, it's our option. It's actually
Good question.
some 5-year thing is showing, okay? I got 3 years in front of me, and then I got an option years. So,
By mutual agreement.
by
A mutual agreement, okay.
So, and if we
Correct.
agree to one of these bids, and we get to the option year, and we say we still wanna go with the same deal, you still got option to go higher or lower.
You are actually in, the contract you're currently in right now is you're in your option years.
We're in option year 5 now.
You're in your second option year
Gotcha.
of the original contract,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah. All right, I got you.
Okay.
So we go the 3 years, and then basically if you say, yep, things are good, let's go another 2 years.
We'll take these two that we got.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, whatever one we go.
You have the pricing there, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't
that's
change.
what I wanted to ask, how that was.
Does not change, correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a comment.
Yes.
Sierra Bishop, I'm the dispatcher from Mascoma. Finding drivers, a big thing that I try to pass along is any parent that stays home has problems with daycare. I know that's a huge issue now. They can bring their kid with them to
Mhm.
drive. Butlers, pace training, they do everything. I went in, I had my daughter, she was just a year old. I got completely trained by them. They provided the bus to take me down to get my license, and I could take her with me, and she absolutely loves it. So I try and push that out to everybody out there. At your second job, we're very flexible. I mean, the morning and afternoon routes, we fit something in between. So that's
I remember
something
when I was a
I'll
kid,
think about.
my bus driver had kids on the bus, like
Yeah.
their own kids on the
Yeah,
bus. It's-
exactly.
It goes
It's
along.
huge.
with-
We get the same
I might
hours
be
as
done.
them.
3 of my kids grew up on a bus.
There you go.
Riding bus. Yep.
Between
Did they
you
drive?
bucks and I might-
What's that?
Did they drive buses?
There you
Not
go.
now, they used to, too.
They used to,
My
okay.
2 oldest do, they have their licenses.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
Train them while they're young.
all right.
All right. That being said, do you guys want to bump this up in the business?
I
Just
do,
deal
I
with
would
it?
like to move to do
All right.
business.
All right. So you want to do bus transportation bid approval next?
Yeah,
That's
that
your
way we
motion?
know one way or the other what we're doing.
All right.
I'll second
And
his
Daniel will
motion.
second. All those in favor of moving the bus transportation bids up to next, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Me?
All right.
I'm the one who
Candace?
brought that up.
Candace? Aye. All right. Great. Thank you. Okay, so up next.
Motion, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, bus transportation bids.
that's what I
Does
want.
anyone like to make a motion as to which one to choose or what to do?
Yeah, well, I will put my foot out in the thing and go for it. I'll make the motion, we accept option number 2.
Okay.
With the stipulation what they agreed on tonight. And put in the contract.
About the upgrading to the.
Yeah,
the
well,
bus.
everything
Yeah,
they
yeah.
brought up, we brought up tonight and then upgrading it in the contract. So, option 2.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Danielle seconds. And yes, discussion. All right, option 1 is on, or I'm sorry, option 2 is on the table now, so that is up for discussion. All right.
Okay, my point is that I have several questions out there waiting for these gentlemen to get back to me. And you also put information pending on your motion. I don't want to make a determination tonight. I want to wait until we have all the information in writing on the submission form.
Okay. Any further comment? Anyone else? So you would rather wait on this to get answers to your questions.
Yep, there's information that's pending that they're going to supply us, and I think we should have it in writing when we vote on it, not vote now and let it get tagged for later. That's why I'm asking for information that goes back for last contract information that I didn't get a follow-up on.
Okay.
And I feel we have enough time. We can get on that at our next meeting, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
You can give me that information in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you?
Say again?
You can commit to those
Yeah, the
questions I had there?
the fuel question and the credit credit.
Those are the only.
I'll
Yeah,
have
the
those
figures.
I
Yeah,
can have those from the end of the morning.
okay,
Those,
that's good.
like I said, our controller has all those.
Okay.
I didn't, I wish you would, someone had asked me, I could have
Had those ahead of time,
brought
yeah.
it with me. but-
No one's ever asked me that question.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I did. Sure.
Excuse me, what question?
Nobody's ever asked me for fuel
The total
totals
of
or
the cap or.
the number of credits. I didn't know that was a question.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were needing that for, like how much fuel they've used. I was
The
just
number
wasn't,
of gallons. is
yeah, I
what
wasn't sure
want.
what that,
In
Make.
comparison, in the last 2 years, I want to see if the number of gallons are in the same ballpark figure, and because I know the routes have been reduced. And I want to see the difference on it in paper.
That's fine, yeah. I can show you what we've got and what we're doing, correct?
okay. All right, well, that's good.
Does
If,
that timing work for the district to wait, or is
wait,
it
2
something, is
weeks, is that?
it something that we need to have?
Yeah, I think we can wait.
Is that,
I just don't know how those two questions are gonna change the
That-
outcome of
I'm
what's
not
here. And I need to order buses. To
Right.
be honest
I'm
with
not-
you, there's such a delay right now, like, I need to get the order in soon.
I'm not gonna, if you're gonna ask me to remove my,
no,
back off my bird, my,
No, nobody's asking.
well, I'm waiting for that to come up.
no one said it yet.
I mean, that's what he just said, it's not gonna change the bid price that's on here. Everything's being recorded and everything else tonight, so I don't have any trouble with everything they brought up about adding to the contract. So everything it's online, and it's being recorded, so I don't have any trouble with everything that they plan on adding into this contract based on either one of these options.
Okay.
Option 2 is the one that we brought up, that they're gonna change things if they need to, like to go from a small bus to a big bus, if they need to. I mean, I think I know it's difficult to do all this stuff and get it done, so.
What was that?
Kathleen, the reasoning that I had understood was because of the fuel price per gallon, correct?
Mhm.
Is that where you were going with the prices? Because you were saying something, meaning down for the Boston price,
Mhm.
and you were hoping that the cap could be reduced from 439 to a lower number if we're not using, is that the correct?
Right, but I think that's part of the RFP.
You want a higher
so-
number.
Sorry,
You want a higher
I have,
number.
yeah, I have to
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, that's why I was asking,
No,
because
that's why
I
we
wanted
asked.
to
Yeah,
make
of course.
sure.
See, in the proposal, it says any fuel cost above that exceeds the 439
Mhm.
per gallon will be billed
Mhm.
to the district on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to need that, but I won't know until I get their information.
Okay, that's-
But it's totally
That's-
dependent on the volatility of fuel prices. It doesn't
Correct.
matter how
I mean,
much gallons
I
you're
can
using.
tell you
It
what we've
matters
done
how
in the
much
past,
you
but
use.
it's not gonna change.
It matters how much you're using, what price you get.
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to his point was, it's really, I mean, I can show you what we've done in the past, but fuel prices a year ago were very different than what they are now.
They were
And
higher.
then a fuel price, they were higher, and a fuel price a year from now is gonna be probably different than it is now, so I can't really.
What I'm looking at is the number of gallons. Okay, yes, the price is going to be volatile, up and down, we don't know. But the number of gallons should, in my mind, the number of gallons in the future should be less than what it was 2 and 1 year ago. And that's where your bottom line comes in when you do your number of gallons, not necessarily the price.
True, but again, if
You're only getting cat bill on the number of gallons you're using.
correct,
Say that again, please?
You're only getting cat bill on the actual number of
Actual
gallons
number
you
of
use. So
gallons
when
you're
we
using.
cat bill, they get, the actual number of gallons we purchase by the price. So we don't, all that information's on the bill, on the sheet. So we show it all. I can get it in the morning.
Yes.
I don't know those. I cat bill many different school districts. I just don't have yours memorized.
and
I
understand
never
that,
already have.
that 439 for us is net of taxes.
Mhm, right.
So, I mean, and taxes right now are 52 cents a gallon, between everything is 52 cents a gallon. So you're really, your cap price is really, 480, 491, if you really look at it that way.
Because you're adding
So-
the taxes.
Because you're adding the
I
taxes, so
understand that.
if fuel goes above 491, that's the only time you're ever gonna get billed for it, you know what I mean? So, and I don't see fuel going above 490, I just don't, but hopefully not, it would. But
And-
really, it's, the 439, you're actually talking about 491, because it's net of taxes, so,
I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
And the excess billing only comes into play when the cost per gallon rises, not when the volume increases.
Correct.
Not based on the volume.
Correct.
We're not charged
It's the
a separate line
gross
item
cap.
for the fuel purchase.
Correct.
It's really only when the price of what is
Exceeds
purchased
$4.91.
exceeds that point.
And it's only on however much it exceeds 491.
Right.
So if gas for some
Correct.
reason is 520, we'll have to pay the 29 cents
29
extra
cents.
over the 491,
Correct.
not the
For
520.
that.
For that one.
purchase.
For that volume of
Yes.
fuel only.
Gotcha. All right. Any further discussion?
Kathleen, can I just clarify, are you looking for Butlers to provide you the total number of gallons purchased?
I don't know if I can do that.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so I think she is asking for a couple different things. So we're talking about gallons that have exceeded or cost that's exceeded the capped price, and you're looking at total number of gallons purchased
Used,
or used for the last 2 years, correct?
right.
Okay.
I could try. I don't know what my data mine software is gonna do that, but I can try.
I think we're just losing a couple things in translation.
Yeah, it's gonna be cost is what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Anyone else? Further comments? All right. We have a motion on the floor. The motion on the floor is to take option 2. And we'll do this as a roll call vote. Brewster?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Tim? Yes. Kathleen?
No,
Vicky?
Yes.
Candace?
Yes.
All right. There we go. We have passed that. So, all right.
Thank you very much for your
All right,
time. Kevin,
thank you.
We'll get that information to best, again, I'm not sure our software will tell us that,
I can try.
minutely that thing, but we can,
It'll get close.
we'll get close to that and tell you, and we can also tell you what we billed for caps over the past year, as well as what we've given back in credits over the last year too. So
well, I'm
we can
sure
get
you
all that
have
for you.
mileage logs for each vehicle and that
Correct,
will give you
yes.
the answers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. Well, sort of, it depends, because it depends on miles per gallon and what each bus gets, so, yeah. We'll get it for you though.
Okay.
So
I appreciate
Kathy,
it.
one more time, we're gonna look at the total gallons purchased.
No, I want to know the total gallons used.
Gallons used.
Yeah.
And then gallons over the cap or charges over the cap?
Yes.
Well,
That's easy. I can do
That's
that.
right.
Deb already has that.
And there's.
Deb has that, so when we do the cap, we actually show you the total gallons, everything else, what we paid for that. So all the cap billing will have all that information right in it,
And
correct?
I know
Yep.
this, you only charged, we only had cap billing
I was gonna say, we didn't
recently.
have a lot.
You haven't
No.
done
Yeah.
much for us.
Yep.
The numbers are not.
And Kathleen, the
Yeah.
final thing was credits, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can give you the total credits that we issued in the previous school year and then what we've done so far.
So 22 and to 23 and
22, 23, 24. Yep.
And 21, 22 would be good.
2 years before.
And 21, 22, I can do that,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah.
2 years before.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
just
tough,
the
we understood.
COVID time.
Yeah, that might be a little weird.
No,
Yeah.
I don't care about the COVID number.
That's true.
No.
That's a weird year. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
You're gonna make sure that they update that contract that we just discussed tonight.
Yeah, that'll be obviously,
Yeah.
Amanda and
Yeah.
Deb Ford will do
No.
that. And
Just wanna make sure that they put that in there.
Absolutely.
That was part of my motion, so.
Yep. All right.
I agree.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
All right.
We'll get that stuff tomorrow. We'll get it to Amanda.
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
Thank you.
And if you have any other questions going forward, Amanda knows how to get in touch with me.
All right.
I'm available.
Cool. All right, we'll do. Thank you.
We'll start training again.
All right,
I'm
continuing
quitting
business.
the basketball stuff.
So I know our student rep is not here, we already bumped her up, but that kind of brings a point that I wanted to make, is that our student rep should really be for more things than just to give a quick sports update about what's happening. I would like to see them be in part of the meeting and participate more, instead of just kind of showing up, being like, we gotta get them out of here, and then they gotta go on to do their thing. Like, they don't stick around for any new business, they've never, been involved in any policy, they've never done anything that frankly interacts with any other part of the school board. So I would just like to see that maybe we can cap it at an hour. I understand kids have commitments, and I didn't want to spring this on her tonight, I didn't want to do anything, because I understand she just showed up, so I didn't want to say this then, but maybe we cap it at an hour and say, you gotta stay till 7, and that way it's at least participatory, you get something out of it, because this is something that goes on a kid's resume.
They get to apply for.
They get to apply for the scholarship that we put forward. So, we want to make sure it's worth their while, make sure it's worth our while, make sure they're learning something from this too. Because, policy is policy, it is what it is, and
Well,
yeah.
I don't know, Tim, the previous ones we've had before, they stayed around let me say this, they stayed around in the past for a little bit longer than just, first on the agenda and then gone. And they usually, and I know the previous ones we've had, they brought up other stuff other than sports.
Yeah.
I think if you let them know that, I think, remember one of them, I want to belabor this whole thing, but I don't think you should delegate them to stay here for all this stuff. But if they had a report that they made out before they got here,
You're right.
that would be better. That way they could have stuff that they brought up in the high school that they want to get out to us. And she's got that, and she's done. That person needs. I don't want to burden a student for being here.
No, that's why I want to say cut it out for an hour.
Well, I don't want to do that either. There's too many things in these kids' agendas nowadays, and personally for me, I don't think you should do that. Okay, I don't think we should do that, because then you might not get anybody to sit in that seat. Okay? All right, you won't get anybody to sit in that seat, but if you say to them, get hold of Tina or whoever can talk to the rep and say, Tina, can you get them to, before the meeting comes up, it's like twice a month, have them come up with some kind of little small report. She come in here, she can do a report like we get here in our, all these other reports we get. And that way, she'd come in here, and if we already got it, looking at it, we could say, hey, ask a question to her. But I don't think that student rep should have to be here, be going through policies, down through all this other stuff, when we've had reps before this that were involved with sports, involved with other activities other than sports, and I don't want to burden them. I don't want to see this, not to have somebody over here. Because I've been on for a long time, and we went for a long time without student rep.
Yeah.
All right, now we got a student rep, and they finally got somebody, but what I'm getting at is, don't put a stipulation on them, because then they'll just say, I don't want to put up with this, and I'm done.
Well, then I don't know that I want that person to be a student rep. You know what I mean?
Well,
if someone can't commit an hour to a meeting, I have countless hours in meetings. All you do too. You know, that's just
Yeah.
part of like learning how to do stuff, and
I
part
don't
of
think-
learning how to be in a school is
I
to learn
don't-
how to sit through a meeting for an hour.
I don't think that's what was brought up to the student rep thing when they
Well-
put the vote up.
Well, I think,
Okay.
I think you're right. I think we used to have a written report.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see just a little paragraph as to what's been happening, you know,
Oh.
from the student body. So,
All right.
yes.
So, I mean, I'd like to see kind of a combination of both, because for one thing, I know that way back in the dark ages, when I was in high school, I actually was a student representative on my school board in Vermont, and I stayed for the entire meeting, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the way that local government functions, and I think that did help me as a frame of reference. And I think that we're really, especially nowadays, we're so far gone from kind of how business happens and how local government happens. I'd really love to see the student representative be someone that is, that we could pick their brain a little bit more, you know, so having them be here for other, for other business, you know, for example, when we get to the equestrian club,
Yeah.
I'd love to know, like, is there a buzz around this? What the deal is with that, and I think that could be really helpful. I also think that being prepared and having a written report that could be submitted in the packet, which means the week prior to the board meeting, having that in here like any of our other reports would be helpful for us to get a sense of what are the things that are going on, so that we can use the time more efficiently and ask questions if there is something that either was a concern or a challenge or something that we think was really great and we want to like give them some kudos on. I think that would be really helpful. Do I think that we need to put a time limit on things? I'm not sure. But I would like to see more involvement, because it is something that we want it to be beneficial and not just like, if it's someone that's just going to read off a report, I think I agree with Tim. I don't know that they should necessarily be there, because they could just type up the report and put it in the packet. If there's someone that's a student representative that's going to be part of how we're having conversations about things, I would like to have them here to have the conversation.
I just want to be clear, this is not about our current
No,
board rep, not at all.
not
Like,
at
that's
all.
not what I'm
It's
talking
like
about.
in
This is in
general.
general, from our school
Yeah.
board reps in general. I've noticed over the years, it's just been going down, the shorter and shorter and shorter
Well-
that they're here sitting in the meetings, and we're trying to get them out of here for some reason. And I don't get that.
Well, I do why we get them out of here, but I also would say if you're gonna put a stipulation on them, on stuff, then maybe what we ought to look into, I don't know how we can give them, like half a credit or something for a whole year.
An ELO.
Perfect
Remember
ELO.
remember we talked about that years
Yeah.
ago, but we've
Yeah.
had some really good student reps before.
Yeah.
All right, so if you put that out there and saying, hey, you're gonna be here for, X amount of times for, and you can leave, I can say when you can leave, but I mean, they got things they gotta do. I just don't wanna burden a student rep coming in here, but if you give them an incentive that, hey, it's gonna go on your resume, and we're gonna give you a quarter of credit or a half a credit, or whatever the administration thinks it's feasible. And, right now, they gotta get, how many credits now? 25, 26 to go graduate? I don't know, whatever. But we've had some good ones here.
Yeah.
But we've had some that just don't have the time to sit here and.
Well, if
Enroll
they don't
them.
have the time, then they shouldn't be doing it.
Well,
Like, that's
Timmy,
pretty simple. Like, if you don't have the time to be on a committee, don't sign up for the committee.
Well, you didn't have somebody for quite a while.
Well, we've gone like 1 year or 2 years without, in my knowledge, but still.
Well,
All right, I didn't want to be late. Yes, yes.
So I think we need to be mindful of the fact that when we proposed the student position, it was defined as having 2 student reps here.
yeah, it was.
And the purpose was for an alternate, so it's not burdening just one student, and there's another student that can cover them. I think maybe we need to clarify more of what we want feedback on, especially things like our co-curricular committee And there's a lot of information there that the students could give us feedback on. That's just one example. I don't need to go into a whole bunch of details. But if we don't give the student a purpose to be here tonight, and we're pushing them out the door, it's going to be harder and harder to find those two people that are supposed to be serving that position. And they're valuable no matter what they say to us. And we really do need that feedback.
That's a good point.
So I will say that tonight I did want Sophia pushed up in the agenda. I
That's
didn't
fine,
see,
I didn't want to,
you know, I didn't
I agree with that.
see,
Yeah,
you know,
that-
a need for her to sit through what could have potentially been a 2-hour presentation.
Totally.
I think in the future, you know, she will be willing to stay through the business portion of the meeting, and I do think that there is some value in that. I do like Kathleen, your idea of what do you really want? Because she obviously does not know
Right.
what you want,
But we
and
haven't-
I'm not sure Tina knows what to have her say. So I think next year a definition about what the role of school board rep looks like, what the expectations are, and what credits you could earn will all be wrapped in on that. I know Angel is listening now and will take good notes and will help me to get that in place. for
We
next
might
year.
already have, I think we have a policy on it.
We do.
Well,
I think
We've already, we can start there.
you
See
go
what
back years ago, not too many long time ago, but the one was on for quite a while. She was a junior and then she was a senior. She stayed on and she had, going away, she graduated and then she came back but we had an alternate with her. And I can't remember her name, but it's been three or 4 years since that's happened, I think. And that worked out good. But you gotta give the two that are gonna be on there an incentive. And I don't think there's an incentive for them to sit here and go through all this.
I really like the idea of an ELO. I think that it's a perfect opportunity,
Yeah.
especially, you know, factoring in a written report that's done ahead of time, and then
You know,
you
for advisory.
kind of participatory government,
Yeah.
having, you know, being a liaison to the stakeholders here in the school as the students. I mean, I think that would be a great opportunity, and I actually think Sophia would do a really good job of helping us to figure out what it could look like as a senior, as someone who's been here through a couple different iterations. I think it would be actually really valuable to have her help kind of co-create that.
Yeah.
Is there another one?
So that it would be available, you know, by spring, so that they can do an election in the spring. So by the time June rolls around, there are new people, and if they wanted to ease into it over the summer, when we have a few less meetings, or they don't have sports as much going on. They're not actually in season. If you're involved in sports, you're probably doing summer stuff.
was like,
Otherwise, you may not be doing much during the season, but to be realistic. But they may have more. They may have more time without the academic constraints of a school year upon them.
Those
So
meetings tend to be a little shorter in nature.
Yes.
Just because
Yeah.
you have less.
Yes.
yeah.
Is there an alternate on this
There's
one?
not.
Not
We
yet.
barely got a person
Yeah.
Okay, I just,
Yeah, we have
But-
one.
I
okay.
think if we talk about it as an ELO, if you are a kid that's interested in government and governance, this is a really good, easy way to get an ELO, the half credit, whatever you want to say. So yeah, we'll work with her on that this year and see what we can come up with, and we'll give her a little more guidance as to what we're looking for in the meantime to report on and stuff like that. So, okay, thanks for entertaining me on that. All right, budget committee. You have your minutes in the packet. Hope is not here with us tonight; she's out of town. So you have them in your packet. Any questions for Amanda on these?
Danielle was there also.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Danielle. You're right.
Yeah.
Any
Is
question
that
for
the one?
Danielle on
You
these?
can thank me
My
later.
balloons are
No, this is
I mean,
this was the 30th.
yeah.
Were
So
you
I
there?
was there too. Yeah. I was
High
there.
school and IRS.
I was there.
That's so.
I mean, you have the minutes here. Process-wise, I'll just say that I think it's great that the budget committee meetings this fall have grouped together schools so that they've made the work sessions really efficient. I mean, there's specific things in here. I think that you can get it all from
Thank you.
here. Yeah.
All
If
right.
anyone has any questions,
Yes.
I'm willing to entertain them.
Anyone now?
Send you an
Otherwise-
email.
Yeah.
An email, a voicemail. Move
All
around.
right. Up next,
Good.
we have finance and facilities. This was not a actual meeting because just Hope was there. Brewster and I were not able to make it. So that was just updates. We didn't vote on it. They didn't vote on anything.
No.
So Hope just gave some updates, talking about budget, facilities, making preparations for winter, because that's Corrado. Talk about cafe services and following up on balances. So April Guinness, who was there, says she follows up with families, but hopefully that is happening across the district at different buildings. And then just talk about other policies that we will get to. And then April talked about how the kids don't go to the field, Canaan Ball Field at CES there. So it's not necessarily a safety concern. That's great. That's fine. I think we still just like it addressed because that's all.
What's the Canaan Ball Field?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to have access to that.
Yeah, we are supposed to have access to that. So if we wanted to use it, it would not be safe to use, I guess is my point.
Which one? Which one?
Not the
by
one.
their school? Or?
Yeah, the one behind the school.
Behind the
yeah.
school?
The one that we signed an agreement with the town, that the town agreed that they would maintain all the buildings and property on there.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
All right.
That shouldn't be done like that.
Yeah. Wellness committee.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's on that.
So-
Danielle was there as well.
Yeah,
You got the report.
you've got you do have the written report.
Guys are well.
I mean, there's some food pantry stuff, there'll be boxes for the
Yeah,
holidays.
Spectrum's
We
there.
did talk about, in the food service update, we did talk about negative lunch balances. It is, I think, a concern of everyone. So, that's that. We haven't done composting stuff. There were some trainings. There was the session on vaping, info session on vaping that happened with Upper Valley Altogether on the 7th. It was a good presentation. People were engaged, however, it was a very small
I was wondering how many people showed up.
I want to say 3.
We had a family of 4 there. I was there, Cynthia, Donlin, some staff, and then 2 other parents. So I would say probably 6 parents showed up.
Okay.
As I was watching it, there's some suggestions and tweaks I would like to make. It's my opinion, more of something that should be presented at the elementary level. I think by the time, people are at the high school, the parents already know and the kids are well versed in vaping.
Yeah.
So I think it's something, Dan, I think it's something that, would be more beneficial to be hosted maybe during a PTA meeting at the elementary schools.
Yeah.
And I think a smaller venue, Hillary did a beautiful job. She had beautiful slides. She had, concrete examples of vapes and, what they look like, and just to teach parents and show them. And when you're talking the difference in the auditorium, you can't see. So it needs to be a smaller, more intimate venue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you would have better luck if we hosted it as a part of a PTA meeting or something, during a PTA meeting, but at the elementary schools and even at the middle school. I think you would find more parents interested.
Like maybe an open house at IRS, like
It
during
could
that
even be
time,
part
and
of
drop
an
in.
open house, pop in, presentation, but she's got wonderful information, and it's truly is vaping 101, right? It's your basics about vaping and the harm that it does, and what it looks like and how to smell it or detect it if you can in your kids. And I do think a smaller venue to get a better audience.
Things are keep going. So.
Yeah, so we'll see how that fits in to the structure. I did also forget to mention, it is a thing that we reviewed wellness policy JLCF. It's not here for tonight, but I imagine that will be something that we will approve at a future meeting. Then our next meeting is in January, late January.
All right. Danielle, you're very busy this month.
Yeah.
Co-curricular
I
subjects.
know, those 2 meetings were back to back last week, man. All right, and then the budget committee, yeah.
Yeah.
meetings.
So on your wellness
Yeah.
report here, I noticed you've got student representative listed and it says none. Is that
Yes.
customary that you have a student representative there?
We would.
On the books.
Yeah, we would like to have a representative. We thought that there was someone that was,
We had one
Interested,
last
yeah.
year, we had one senior come last year.
yeah, and then they graduated, so,
You're still keeping a marker there for
we
it, right?
are,
Okay.
because, especially it has to do with, actually, I think is it in the wellness policy?
I don't
Or is
think
it something
it's not
related to
mandatory,
food service?
but
It's not mandatory.
food service with like input from students, so we were
Yes.
hoping to get it that way.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So our current representative, is she aware of that need?
No, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing, but that's, that is one of
Okay,
those
to
things, because
broaden it
it's
for
something
someone
that's at
else.
3:30,
Yeah.
so
So it
Okay.
could be possible.
it could be possible. It's one of those
To
after
get,
school.
reach out to another student.
Could we
Yeah.
ask the student government to provide somebody, perhaps? That would be an easy, be like.
Yeah, we've also
who's
talked
the-
about this maybe being something even that like a 7th or 8th grader might
Right.
be interested in,
Oh,
because
good.
Yeah.
so I think that
Nice.
One
we
week.
have it on as an aspirational placeholder, and
That'd be correct.
but a good point about again kind of clarifying what our goal is, or what our reason to have a student about student involvement, and to better make aware to students and to families and to teachers that there are these opportunities, and perhaps they could be factored into ELOs or other sorts of educational opportunities, so that there's some consistency and drive to do that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
All right, so co-curricular meeting happened on November 9th. Again, you've got meeting minutes. They're brief because we tried to keep the meeting brief. One thing that you'll notice in here, in addition to the minutes, is that there are high school and IRS updates as far as co-curricular activities that are going on. Most of these are kind of recaps of how the fall happened, but and you've seen kind of the high school co-curricular update kind of incorporated into the quarterly updates from the high school. We haven't really had that from IRS for quite some time, so we thought that it would be important to bring that along so you could see what's involved. So if you have specific questions about what was presented in those, I would say I refer you back to Steve Stebbins for the high school and Marissa for the IRS co-curricular activities report.
One question,
Yes.
are you doing the superintendent's report too?
Yes, she is.
Thank the Lord I am
Come
not.
on, you're doing so well, I want to get
She
you
is
going.
doing so well.
Yeah, why don't you
Told me
keep
now
going?
with the business administrator.
You can go
Yeah,
to
you.
administrator.
Never gonna give that to you now.
I cut it off at wellness and co-curricular.
I'll ask you, Amanda, I'm gonna ask you later about, I have a question about Destination Imagination, middle school versus high school. I'll talk to you about it later, but yeah, as to which one is which, so.
Yeah, and the next meeting is in January, so I'm sure we'll have some early
We'll have you do everything.
info about the winter season
Snowing.
and all of that stuff.
And again, that's a committee that probably has a student rep on it too, right?
I mean,
Or should,
I think it
as a
could.
placeholder for an aspirational student.
co-curricular,
We're gonna start giving out some credits, I'm
It
telling
could.
you.
We're kind of busy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that is, the
Again,
kid
it's a-
who would be most involved are the ones,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it is another, so both wellness and co-curricular meet at 3:30, so they,
Oh, here's
so it's easier for the staff.
Yeah. Senior
and then-
surprise is not that.
Yeah, so if there was, someone that wasn't involved in that season, or their practice was later, or something like that, it would be, it'd work out fine. But again, as we try to work out what the ask is and how they can feel like they are making a larger contribution
Yeah.
to what's going on, and their voice as a student to be heard, subcommittees are one of those places
Yeah,
Yeah,
that they can have an impact,
yeah,
so.
totally.
and they're less
informal than a board meeting.
Yes, absolutely.
I gotta get the manager's report before I fall asleep.
All right, superintendent's report. Let's wait for his drop.
Well, I got to get going here.
So you do have my report in your packet.
Yep.
I did attend Noises Off the Play. The fall production was hilarious. Kudos to those kids, they did a great job. They had a couple of setbacks with a couple of illnesses and a couple of quick replacements who were just fabulous. It was very, very good. Now I'm working with Mr. Chalker and Mr. Sweetland about how we better promote those events and how we get more people to it. I'm part of the Town of Canaan Economic Development Committee. We meet every other Monday or the second and fourth Mondays of the month. And, you know, I did bring it up to them and they're really, they were apologetic for not having to go on to see it. I said, you missed a great production. But I did let them know that any way that they could help us promote it or could help us, you know, if it would be good for us to provide busing for the senior center or something like that, just to get some people in the seats. And so they're going to work with me about how we can better promote it out, and they had some other pretty good ideas. So that was very helpful.
They did have flyers on the newsletter, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
I found it.
yeah.
And I saw those.
It was tight turnaround, so we did push that out as best we could, but it was the November newsletter, and so it went out in November, and it was just that next weekend. So it was tight turnaround, so hopefully we can do that a little differently as we start to get better with the newsletter, and people get more accustomed to giving us information in a little bit more of a timely manner. But it's a change, and we will get there. So I was also asked, I did some follow-up in this report, about if we were able to determine the usage rate for Alma. Kamala was gracious enough to pull what she could from there, so it doesn't necessarily track the usage rate, but you can see on the numbers here that we have 1,358 parents or contact users in the district. Of those, 772 are active, so that's about a 50% active rate for Alma usage, and that may have gone up, but that was back when I requested it in October.
With report cards coming out right now, because there wasn't a big need for parents to activate their accounts before now. Their kids are there, they know they have a phone number at school. Why else do you need to get on Alma, especially at the elementary school level? So now is when the report cards are going to be coming out, so I am certain. I can get Amanda, different numbers after next week when they are live in report cards. I know that they are mailing out report cards too, because it is not the norm for elementary school parents to look online, and they don't want to limit, access to grades and information to tech-savvy parents only. So I know that most of the schools are mailing those home or sending them home in a paper form as well as Alma. So, even if the numbers in Alma aren't super humongous, it doesn't mean parents aren't getting the information. It just means they're getting the information the way they want, which is what our goal is.
I think as a parent, you see the first report card, I'd be wagering to see that more parents start using it into the second and third and fourth semester, especially the closer you get to the end of the semester, and you want to see how their homework's doing.
Well, in elementary school, they don't track homework.
Exactly.
So those aren't necessary numbers for those parents. So up until 7th grade, there's no information in there for them to look at besides what their child's attendance is. And when you're driving them to school or putting them on the bus yourself, you know what that looks like.
Yep.
Or you hope you do.
And speaking of segueing me into report cards, thank you, Kamala. We are working with the principals to identify kids who may have received their D or an F, right? We're starting to look at our D and F list students. And we're going to start to enroll those students in grades 6 through 12 into tutor.com, right? That's a free tutoring service, and it is being used in other districts with great success. So, we were a little bit hesitant at first. Some schools are actually using it during the school day, like during study hall or something like that, to help support kids. But we will be actively working with some of the students who are struggling in some of their classes to get them that extra support that they need. Just a reminder to everyone to check the events. We're coming into a hot spot, right? When we start to we've had a couple of plays, we'll be coming into concert season, and then the musical will be shortly behind that. So just a reminder to check that out and to make sure if you can get here to see the great things our kids are doing. And budget, yay.
Yay.
So the budget we presented finally on
Yesterday,
Yeah.
on yesterday.
Woo! Last night, we presented the SAU district-wide and special ed budgets. So the work session for the budget committee will be on the 20th, with the joint meeting on the 4th with you all and the budget committee. That meeting will be held in the auditorium.
All right,
December 4th.
December 4th, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any further questions for Amanda?
Is it possible when if there's gonna be printed report cards going out, can there be a stuffer in there also just reminding them about Alma, reminding them about the app if it's there?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Do we know that everyone is sending home?
I
a
don't
printed
know
report
if they,
card?
I know some
Okay.
schools
Mm.
are and some schools aren't. I don't know if the high school,
Yeah.
I heard the high school is.
Mm.
I
Could it be
would-
printed?
Yeah, I was gonna
Could
say.
it be printed on the report?
You
Sometimes
cannot.
you can't do a message on the report
No,
card.
well, you can, but it tweaks with the report card. And they work very hard
Yeah.
to make sure
Okay.
the
Make it look
report card
nice.
is clear
Okay.
and informational.
Maybe we
All right.
get paper made up
And not
with on the
confusing.
back side of it. It says, check out Alma, check out our app. You know, the paper
Yeah.
itself. But anyway, I digress.
Printed labels.
Yeah, right. All right.
Whatever.
Business administrator's report, financials are in your packet. Any questions for those, for Amanda, for anybody? All right.
No.
Next on our agenda for new business, we have copier bids. This is for our paper, right? Copier paper.
You still gotta look for somebody?
Hmm?
Huh?
What?
No.
So we have, you have in your packet, we put it out, sent it out to 4 different places. We got bids back from 2 of them, WB Mason and Staples. I believe we currently work with WB Mason, right?
Correct.
All right.
Make a motion, we take WB Mason for the bid.
And the amount of
Amount of what's listed on your packet.
$13,867.
Try to
All right.
streamline this thing.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Vicky seconds. All right. Any further discussion? Thank you, WB Mason. All right. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye. Okay, Kangas. All right, thank you. All opposed? Abstain. All right. Up next.
Has to be a roll call.
Oh, thank you.
I was
Dan,
trying to
you're
tell
right.
her, we'll
There you
call
go.
her.
All right. Brewster?
Yeah.
Danielle?
I'm the
Tim? Yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky?
That's what I want.
Candace?
Yes.
All right, there we go. Thanks, sorry. Thank you for catching me on that.
Well, I got you.
All right.
Question thing now.
Equestrian Club is up here. So I do have a question on this. Reading this, it appears that 2 of the names of officers are staff and not students.
And my apologies for that, that got by me, I would never have approved it or brought it to you had I been paying attention, but yes,
What's that?
What is this?
The volunteer?
yeah, we should have, we should not have 2 adults. You know, we should not have a parent and a staff member on there. So, yeah, I think we will just table that, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. I'd rather not deny the request, I'd
No.
rather just table it, and I will send it back to Mr. Stebbins and have it get done correctly.
Yep, so we table that. I'm glad that they're doing it, but get 2 more kids in there, so.
So who are the people that signed under principal approver and faculty leader? I can't read the signatures.
Tina,
Or Diane
Tina,
Baird.
that's Tina.
That's Tina,
I see the
okay.
T, yep.
Yeah, Tina Fleming, and you
And then
have
it
Haley
must be
Miller.
and then
Oh.
student leader, in fact, so Abby Waugh is listed, and then faculty leader must be
I think that's
Allison
Alex
Tessier.
here,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, like faculty advisor.
Yes.
That's what that is,
Who-
okay.
Who is it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Is this one Allison Tessier?
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
there we go.
So they should be notified about the inaccuracy of the form too.
Yeah,
I think we talked about updating this form, and I don't believe I got around to it.
yeah, because officer should say like president, vice president, treasurer, secretary.
Yeah.
We've had some recently that were all filled out correctly.
2002.
Brandon's only had about 7 meetings in 1 week. So
I know, right?
all
Because I can
together.
see how they did it, I mean, the description of their duties,
Yeah.
coaching and club, something to the New
Link.
Hampshire, whatever.
Anyway, we're
Anyway,
tabling this.
Yep, all right.
We'll
Table that.
Table.
All right, so up next we have donation from the Royal Athletic Boosters for $13,000 for wrestling mats. Approval of that. $13,424.
We have to make a motion to accept that?
Yes?
All right, well, I'll make the motion, we accept that because
Okay.
Danielle's,
I can-
You can abstain.
Danielle can't. 'cause
That's
I-
correct. I
Second.
can-
All right, Kathleen will second. Any discussion on this?
I just want to clarify the amount.
Yes.
It's not on the agenda, it just says 13,000, but you have the correct amount.
$13,424.
24,
Thank you.
it's right on
Yes.
there, yeah.
So that's Bruce's motion. Any further discussion on that? Many thanks to the Royal Athletic Boosters. This is great to help them with more mats.
They're gonna, yeah, the only discussion they might have is they're gonna keep the old ones, right? Are they gonna keep the old mats for a while?
As long as
Replace the
they're
worst.
usable, yes, I believe that is the case.
No,
The,
Because
the,
that way,
yeah,
they can have one there and one in the gym for the time being.
yeah, I mean, I don't know where.
I don't know when they
I
can
don't know
store,
what the-
I don't know what he's gonna, the old ones aren't.
We're just doing the
aren't bad.
donation, so I
That's
didn't
up
get
to
into the
Steve.
detail, yeah, I didn't get into the
Alright.
details of
Steve to figure it out.
where
Alright,
it
fine,
didn't.
fine.
No, I don't know where it's going.
That's
Alright.
something to leave up to the athletic.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
gotta
that's
have
his
something
job.
to do.
Where it's
He
gonna go,
can handle it.
but I
He
do believe it's to
capable.
supplement and or replace.
Yeah, that's what I read there.
Yeah.
I know
Whether
that.
it's in his
Yeah.
office or if that's where he's got to store it, whatever.
What's that?
The mat. If he's
I
got
doubt that.
All right.
I would just like to,
Roll
Yeah.
just a shout out to the Bird Foundation
Yes.
and to the Enfield Mascoma Lions Club for their support of this request, which came about in large part due to the wrestling coaches and families to get out there and commit to
Cool.
making this happen.
All right.
All right,
I'm going to call for a vote. Brewster,
yes.
Danielle
Abstain.
abstains, and Tim, yes. Kathleen,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Candace.
Yes.
All right, that one passes. Thank you very much to the Royal Athletic Boosters, the Burn Foundation, and the Enfield Mascoma Lions Club. Come out and see our kids wrestle. We've had state champ after state champ.
It's impressive.
Very impressive wrestling program. All right. Up next, we have 4 policies. We have 3 of them for a second reading and 1 for a first reading. I'll entertain a motion on the second reading ones.
Make a motion that we approve for second reading, policy GBCD, background information, investigation and criminal history records check, policy BEDG, meeting minutes, and policy ACN, nursing mothers accommodation.
All right, we have a second?
Second.
All right, Kathleen seconds. Any further discussion on these policies?
Were there any changes?
There were no, I don't think we changed.
There were some suggestions and changes that we made during this meeting, and those were added in.
It was very minor,
They were very minor.
whatever, yeah.
Grammar
The
and stuff.
grammar, yeah,
Okay.
and like put our name in there and that
Is
sort
this
of
new?
thing.
Is it new?
I did check, as I said I would, on.
Oh, yeah, nursing mothers.
Yeah, nursing mothers accommodations. I don't know if I can say yes to a policy that has that name. It's
Nursing mothers.
kind of crazy, but it just sounds very patronizing to me. I did look up, I printed out, but I left it on the table, but I do have photos. I checked the Dartmouth Hitchcock policy. They do call it a breastfeeding policy.
Always been.
Breastfeeding / chest feeding, I don't think we need to do that, but I think that calling it breastfeeding or lactation as opposed to nursing mothers accommodations would make more sense to me and doesn't sound like it's from the 1950s.
Mm.
I support changing it to lactation.
Lactation accommodations?
Yep.
And instead of nursing mothers, we can say lactating employees?
Oh.
I mean, it's.
What do you want to
Stay
say?
away from that, just stay away from it, Tim. Let the ladies figure this out. All right? Let them figure this out. You're gonna get yourself in big trouble.
That might be the smartest thing you've ever said.
What's that?
Stay away from this one.
I am.
You're not kidding.
I'm the judge in this place half the time. What, this lawyer?
Anything, yeah, how do you want to say that?
Just let them figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's
Don't
go.
have to make it gender specific.
Oh my God.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I mean.
We turn it into
it's just-
a nightmare here. Like, I'm waiting for this one here, that's why we got this on here.
Is this a mandatory policy?
It is required by law.
Yes.
Ah,
I mean,
there it is.
the
Okay, I'm looking for it.
It gave
The
me a
easiest
compliment
way would be to
tonight.
call
Here's
it-
the crawl.
parent or,
Caregiver.
Huh?
no, lactating individual.
Whatever you guys wanna put in there, just figure it out and let's go. Cause it's, seriously, you gotta open up a can of something.
Breastfeeding
Formula,
accommodations
exactly.
and lactation accommodations were both suggestions I have written down. Do you want either one of those, or do you wanna keep thinking?
Nope, I don't,
I think,
Table this thing.
no.
do you want to table this
We
one?
can table it while
I
you
like
work
that
it, we can
rhymes.
bring it back next time.
Lactation
Just put it in there.
All right,
All right, I
so
will do more work on this.
Okay.
we withdraw
I
that
will work
one.
with people that.
So we'll withdraw, Bruce, do you withdraw that policy?
I like
I,
it.
yes, I do.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So Danielle withdraws the policy, so we just have the two policies for second reading, GBCD background investigation and VEDG meeting minutes.
Bring it back when I'm not here, like me.
There we go, there we go. All right, any further discussion on those two?
December, I won't be here.
All right, we'll call for a vote. Brewster,
On which one?
we are voting on the second reading of GBCD and VEDG.
Okay, I'll say yes.
Okay, Danielle?
Yes.
Tim, yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Candace?
Testing me now.
Yes.
All right, those two policies are set. We have tabled policy ACN. All right, and then up next, we have one policy that we came out of communications committee with. So this is a policy we came up with, talking about district signs and signage. This is, not just about the sign out in front, but kind of as we've had it and talked about it in communications committee, trying to use these as communication tools between us and the community, or between the school district and the school body and the community. So we just came up with some ideas for this, talking about elementary schools and the campus here at the high school. So I'll entertain a motion for first reading on that.
Make a motion that we approve first reading policy KSGN district signs.
Okay.
Second.
Dan, Kathleen, second. All right, discussion. Questions on this?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
no, I just,
Part of this was to clear up some of the clear up that the sign is for both schools at this campus, both IRS and the high school, because it's the one sign for both schools. And to kind of give some ideas also for what types of things should be on there. For example, like student and student
Right.
achievements, school-related events, school district meetings, sports events, performing arts events, hiring things, and then community events held at our school facilities.
all right, so the last sentence, the last one.
Yeah,
To simplify messaging, no animation shall be used on the electronic sign. They can do that. They put little, like a tiger or something on the thing, or a royal on the signboard. And remember, they do that for sports and stuff. You can do an animation on the thing.
well, yeah, you can.
Well, it says no animation.
All right, we can strike that if you guys want. It's not,
I mean,
because
that's,
they're just thinking about things that are distracting, animations that make no sense or anything like that.
well, the message goes on there with the animation sometimes.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. I just meant,
The school bus.
I was thinking more like,
School bus driving.
yeah, like a image of school bus driving by or something like that. Not like the in-between messages or like the,
I strike that.
okay,
I want to strike that.
all right.
You
How do
should-
people feel? You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it applies.
Okay, no, that's great. Anything else on that?
On our agenda, it says district signage, and on here it says district signs.
Oh, yeah, we should, what do you guys like, signage or signs?
It don't matter. It really doesn't.
We can change it to signage, district signage,
In the title.
in the title of it, yeah.
Who's in charge of that? I thought we had the person who's in charge of the events for, like, the auditorium and scheduling all that stuff, aren't they the ones always, well, no, I guess the main office.
Yeah,
The main office of the high school usually takes care of that.
yeah. I mean, they're the ones that run it
They're the
physically.
ones that be able to program it, right?
Yeah.
Are they the ones that program, Amanda?
Yes, it's typically the administrative assistant at each building takes care of the signs, right, the Canaan.
Okay, I was just thinking the electronic one out here, because it's, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
would be the admin assistant here at the high school.
okay.
So like I said, this is just to clear up that both schools have equal access to that sign, so.
Yeah, all of them do.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
It does say that community events held at a non-Mascoma Valley Region School District site shall not be posted without approval of the superintendent or designee.
Mhm.
So that going forward, as previously I was told that I could get a sign posted if I had an organization that contributed to something at the school, such as scholarships. Is that still in place?
I've never heard that before.
That's typically what we've done, so like we would promote, the barbershop quartet usually donates their proceeds, so when they had their, actually I'm not sure it made it to the sign this time, but when they did a concert, last year, we did also put them on the sign.
Didn't you do the Christmas thing for the Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, they come to the high school and do that?
Yeah, Frosty
Yeah.
World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but that's
stuff.
held
But that's
here.
with
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
also with permission.
This is talking about community events held at
Somewhere else.
held somewhere else, off of a school district site.
Oh, off of different.
Yeah, so it's stuff that's not held here at all,
Oh,
yeah.
that's.
But I didn't know that about like organizations that donate scholarships can have
No.
access to the sign, I've not heard that before.
So typically that's, what we've done, but I think you're right, Tim, I think most of those events have taken place here. They have not typically taken off, but
Yeah.
I do know what Kathleen's talking about, and I did say that we could accommodate that, but I think it's probably best to clean that up in this policy and then just promote things that are happening on this campus.
You should, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because-
Any other questions on that?
That would impact organizations, I think, Friends of Mascoma, we've typically promoted their coat drive and things like that too, so that might be a change for that organization also.
But that would just mean they have to come forward and ask the superintendent
Okay.
for approval, like but that's what it is, so we can still post community events.
Is that what we're agreeing to?
Well, it says that we can't, it says they shall not be posted without approval of the superintendent.
Okay.
So it still gives us the opportunity if we have an event, right? I'm reading that
Yeah,
right?
I think
So
so.
it's
It provides the flexibility. If there's nothing that falls into one of these categories that is new information to share out on that board, it allows for that spot to be taken by something that's
Yeah,
informative.
because like if there's nothing
Yeah.
happening and there's nothing on the sign, then
Put a big
great, but if there's
sign up.
8 things from the school, then maybe it's not a good time.
Right.
On the big sign, I'm saying slow the heck down, down through here on both sides.
Well, we should put that as an allowed
And the
one.
old speed,
That should be
and the old
number
speed
one.
thing, well, it's 35 miles an hour.
Maybe our new sign, we can have it do your
So
speed.
you've got a conflict, and you've got the first sentence that says, all items posted on the electronic sign must be for a school-sponsored event or group. And then you're talking about community events held at a non-Mascoma district site shall not be posted without approval of the superintendent. So it's all items that I have a problem with.
Okay, we can strike the word all
Yeah.
and just
And
say
then
items posted on the
It's not
sign.
a conflict there,
Yeah.
because you're going to jump down to
Just
specific
strike
approval.
out, strike out all.
All right, so with those few changes, cross off the last line, take off the word all, change the name just from signs to signage.
Take this back to spell check.
All right, good with that? All right, we'll do a roll call. Brewster?
Cameron, you got that all down?
I'm all over that.
I
He's
see
good.
what, yeah.
All right,
yes.
Brewster?
Yeah, I already said yes.
All right, Danielle?
Yes.
Tim, yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky? Candace?
Just wanted clarification.
All right, there we go, there's that one.
Wanted clarification for
All right.
before I voted.
Agenda items for the next meeting, we have committee reports, quarterly reports. We'll have more of the information from buses, other fun stuff.
We'll have the policy, so we'll have,
Yep.
bring back nursing mothers accommodations.
No, we don't even.
Lactators.
Yeah, lactators.
Lactators.
Rules
Lactators.
for lactators.
School walk.
We,
You told me to say I was Brewster, that's what you
That
get.
was solid advice right there, Tim.
Pamela
And then
decided
the,
that
the
high
wellness.
school.
I know
Well,
that's some
Schoolhouse
things
rock,
that-
Schoolhouse
lactation,
rock, lactation accommodations.
We need a song.
Let's go.
All right,
The wellness policy.
I'm all
somebody's
about it.
getting antsy.
Do you, I, actually, actually, this, should we bring the nursing mothers accommodations? Do we wanna wait and have that, and put that on the next wellness committee?
Sure.
Be good
That's all
introduction
good.
That's
for
gonna
the
be
first student you
in
get
January,
started.
or is it required, so we need it
It's
now?
required by law, so
Let's
we
just-
should-
we can
Alright,
change
we'll
it.
do it, we'll do it.
All right, yeah, we'll bring it back next time, and then
Ladies
if we
and
need to change it, we can change it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, and public comment,
I hate to be the parliamentarian here,
please.
but you may want to revote your original minutes because you did not have a majority of those who were there at the meeting
Oh,
voting on it. But
that's a
now
good
you do
point.
with
Now I do,
Danielle
so, all
being
right,
here.
thank you for that, yes.
Well,
I was curious
we
about
had a
that.
majority.
No, you didn't. You
No,
had
it
two
is.
people out of four. That is not a majority.
It is too.
That's equal.
No,
No, it's not.
It has to be above 50% to be a
Right.
majority.
he's right. All right, so we'll do that. Anything else?
So we're
That's it.
tabling?
Other than Danielle is right, North Country, because I was up there for 7 years, had a great program for student board members.
Cool.
They were always there, and they were always there,
Yeah, we were.
and they were always giving good input.
All right. All right, so
That was
then,
40 years ago.
I wasn't
Maybe
there
not.
quite 40 years ago, but.
all right, then I will reopen the motion. I will take a motion to revote on the approval of minutes, and we will,
The policy,
the
right?
no, the actual minutes.
The
We did it at the
actual
top of the
minutes.
meeting.
Okay, that's what I was
Yes,
getting
yeah.
confused.
No,
Minutes
no,
for the
the actual
non-public
minutes.
minutes, which I made the motions.
All right, so you're gonna make the motion again,
Yeah.
and who will second?
Yeah,
You seconded?
Who's gonna second?
I don't know, somebody.
I'll second it then. All right, so Brewster.
If I abstain, we're gonna screw you up.
Oh, no, you're not gonna abstain because you were here, so.
I know I am.
Do I have to abstain because I
But
wasn't here for
No,
the original?
you were here, no, you were here for
You were
last.
here.
For the meeting.
Original vote, oh, for the meeting, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Tim,
yes,
yes, Kathleen
Abstain?
abstains, Vicky abstains, and Candace abstains. All right, there we go, so 3-0-3. That's a,
That is
there we go, thank you
Yeah.
very much, Dan, I appreciate that.
What's that?
Just getting it right, that's all. All right, and we have non-public for the purposes of B, C, and K, it looks like.
Yeah, right.
Motion to go into that.
All right, Chris,
Resignations, nominations for public?
We do, yes.
Oh.
correct, Kim, we'll
What's
take
that?
nominations for public, oh yeah, we do have that.
Make a motion that we accept the staff resignation
The green- just
on
the
the
green
green
one.
sheet.
Just the green sheet, right?
Just the green sheet.
Just the green sheet.
As presented.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? You can have
Do we
that.
have someone else in the?
This is quite, this
This is bad.
is quite a hit for our
Yeah,
district.
because it
Mhm.
takes a while to train up a new one.
So we'll hopefully have someone in the year, she is giving us a year, so Kelly Green will be leaving us as the driver's ed instructor in a year.
Yep.
Our final driver's ed class that we'll be able to offer, if we do not find someone to teach those classes, will be summer of '24.
Okay,
That will be her final class.
okay. The summer session, 24. All right,
And will it be summer 1 and summer 2, or just like one summer?
one summer.
Okay.
Get there, you get there. All right. Okay. All those, we ready for vote on that one? All right, all those in favor of accepting the resignation as presented, signify by saying aye.
I'm gonna do roll call.
Oh, thank
Do
you,
roll call.
Brewster.
I'm gonna do roll call,
Thank
man.
you.
You can start with her first.
All right.
Start with somebody else
All right,
first.
Candace.
I would abstain, I can't see it.
Okay, fair. All right, abstain. Vicky. Yes. Kathleen.
Yes.
Tim. Yes. Danielle.
Yes.
Brewster.
Of course.
Of course. All right, there we go. That one's set.
All right.
All right, now you're gonna make your motion for non-public.
I just did.
All right, and we have a second?
Second.
Danielle seconds. All right, Brewster.
You gonna vote me again? Yes.
Danielle.
Yes.
Tim, yes. Kathleen. Vicky.
Yes.
Candace.
Yes.
All right, we are in non-public.